All right. Sydney, Athens, Beijing, London. Which was your favorite?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, Sydney was definitely up there because it was the very first. I was, young and just excited, and just we were a new event. We got featured on the morning television shows that were there. They were asking us about the games. I got to go on to the morning shows. They're like, "Hey, you're a new event." It was us and women's pole vault, and they were like, "What do you think about the sharks in the harbor?" Was the very first question that I got from the reporter, and I was like, is the red light on? Is this live? Like the sharks in the harbor? I'm like, listen, there's 50 guys lined up. We're gonna swim a mile around in the harbor. I'm one of 50. I'm not the best swimmer. I take my chances that I get eaten alive by a shark, So we're there, morning of, that's 4 days before the race. Morning of, we're there, race morning. We come an hour and a half before the race. There's guys full on in wetsuits and sonar guns. And I was like, over the race referee, and I was like, hey, what's the deal with the guys in the wetsuits and the sonar guns? Oh, it's okay, it's for your protection. The sharks don't like the sonar sound. And I was like, are there really sharks in the harbor? Like, are you serious? Like, it's total made for TV, right? You go over to watch Daytona Beach to watch NASCAR for the crashes, right? To see all the spectacle and the craziness. Apparently you watch triathlons to see if people get eaten alive by a shark.
Yeah.
So they marched them and frog marched them all out there, and they surrounded the whole thing. And I was just like, whatever, this is so crazy.
Look, they say just don't fear the shark, and the shark won't mess with you.
That's right. So I had that total mentality, like they're not going to totally mess with me.
Yeah, they can totally tell if you fear them or not.
Yeah. So there was 50 of us, and it was great, and it was 500,000 people there. It was amazing. I finished 17th, but I just had it was pre 9/11. It was a different time. It was much more open. Australia was a great host. The weather was perfect. 70s the entire 16 days. It was beautiful. So that was a great games of mine. Beijing was my best finish. I loved it because I finished 7th. I was top American. It was I had a sports hernia going in. But I probably could have been on the podium if I didn't have some injuries going in. So that was amazing. But then London was great too because it was very city-oriented games, and it was my last. And my son, my oldest son now, who was 5 at the time, got to come and watch me. My parents, my mom and dad, have been to all my competitions and all my Olympic games. My wife, who I was dating in Sydney, has been to all my Olympic games. So it's been a chance for not only for me to see the world, but for my friends and family, my sister, and all people to come and kind of see the world along with me. And it's been an amazing ride. And you don't get to where you are unless you have that support system around you to kind of guide you and believe in you during those downs and those valleys. Because it's like that iceberg, right? The tip of the iceberg, you see the top of the iceberg, right? But you don't see all that's below the water. Right. It's all that people, that when people go on the podiums and they're crying, when they're hearing their anthem being played, we're crying because of the people that aren't there, that coach, that name that doesn't get recognized until a ceremony, sometimes years later, right? That's someone that drove you countless times to swim practice. My mom, who would always drive me, my dad, who always believed in me. Those kind of things, that's what people get emotional because they're not there on top of that podium. You are, but you're standing on top of their shoulders, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think people, no matter where you are in life, whatever you're doing in life, you need to realize that you got to treat others that way. That whether you want to be a mentor or whether you want to be that you're a mentee to somebody else, right? I mean, it's important to know that, just to treat others with respect and to realize that just to be helping others get to where they want to try to get to.